Hello. In the following video, we're going to be looking at the Electro-Harmonix PitchFork Plus. It's going to do an overview and give you an opportunity to hear some of the different settings. I'm playing through 2 amps, and I've got my main is going to the amp on the right, which is a little vibro champ. On the left, we've got a little 5-watt Bugera amp on the 1 watt attenuator setting. And basically, for the beginning here, I'm just going to go through some of the different settings so you can hear how it sounds. So let's set the aux. I'm going to set to just being dry. So that's the volume here. So, and I'll just get a little distortion from the overlord pedal. Okay, so we've got 2 different shift engines or channels. Channel 1 we've got set to an octave above. These go in a range of 3 octaves above and below, and there's also a detuning setting. And our shift 2 we've got at a 4th. So if I click on this now, that'll give us both of the sounds coming through the right side. Now I'm going to switch over here. So now we're just getting the dry sound plus shift 2 is going to the aux. Now let's kick in that other. Okay. So now there we've got both of them going to the different channels, right? So we've got 2, shift 2 is a 4th below, so the perfect 5th of the note that's below a 4th below, and then we're going an octave above. So this bypass in this setting turns everything off, right? So let's just hear some of the different sounds so you get an idea of what this aux setting does. So there's 8 different functions. There's aux, there's the 2 shifts that we've talked about. There's an expression, which we'll look at later. There's user, there's a Xmod, cross modulation. There's 100 presets that you could choose. And we'll look at how you can go through the foot controller to go through those. And then you could turn it on latch, and you could have it be in momentary or latch where it's always on. And then in momentary, you can go do a rise and a fall and then a setting of how much you want it to do between 0 and 100. And just a little bit of homework here, giving you a little bit of how the pedal works. Whenever you see a little dot on the bottom right corner, that means you could click on this and go into further settings for that particular thing. Okay? And we'll look in the expression pedal mode a little bit later, which has frequency, glissando, volume. Okay. So let's skip over to the user. Actually, let's stay here in aux. So let's go through the different settings. So here, if I turn it on, whoops. Let's turn this back to latch. Okay. So this is, so both of the things are going. to the main, and in the aux is getting it, which is going to be very similar to this. Sorry, that other one just had the one channel coming in. So now so this user also is controlling this shift 1. So if we turn this all the way up, so there's nothing coming out on the left side because I've got the volume all the way down from my dry amp, the aux. Okay. And then, so this is what we've been doing, where we've got the dry plus shift 2, whatever's in this. And then when I tap on that, it brings in my other amp. Okay. And now let's go back to aux and shift 2. So there's my clean sound. And let's go back a second here, because when I'm on this one, I'm a little bit confused. That's just getting the dry sound. Yeah, nothing's coming through on the right side, okay. And then here we're just getting shift 2. If I turn this on, we'll get the octave above. And whatever you've got set in the aux, that's not going to go through your other amp. So it says, in aux mode, the value knob is used to select the channels that are sent to the aux output. The selected channels will not be sent to the main output with the exception of all. Okay? And so here, all's everything's going. Okay? And now let's look at some of the user settings. So for the user, this user function or mode basically is a programmable foot switch. It can be assigned to different parameters or augment certain features. Okay, so there's a shift 1. Let's go back. So you've got this aux 0 that's going to toggle the aux output. If I press the value, we could go to bypass or mute. So now it's bypassing the pedal. Now it's muting it mutes the aux channel. Here it's just bypassing it. Here it's muting it altogether, okay? And then we've got shift 1, which we know what that's going to do. Now I've got to have the pedal engaged. And then this shift 1 is how I could pull up that octave sound, right? Okay. So now if we go here, shift 2 is going to be. Okay. So that one just brings it a to that second amp, it sounds like. And now let's look at the jump. Okay, jump, we're going to go into that later. Jump allows you to cycle through different presets. And the holds, if momentary is selected, a glissando, I honestly, so if we've got momentary here, yeah, this is confusing. This one, I'm not 100% sure what it does. It says, if momentary mode is selected in latch mode, which what we've done here is set this to momentary, a glissando occurs at a programmed rate when bypass is pressed. Oh, I see. I'm not 100% sure what that changes the momentary functionality in this latch mode, I guess. It says when user is set to hold and the user foot switch is pressed during a glissando sweep, the glissando pitch. So maybe I've got to have this set. I'm not 100% sure what that one does. And then the blend. So these five, blend 1XF2, 1X2D, D1XD, and 1XS2, hold down the foot switch will behave like a pseudo expression pedal. There's a crossfade for these modes, which is set with the rise and fall subenders under momentary and latch. When using one of these 5 user modes, the bypass foot switch changes to latch mode, even if momentary is currently selected. That I don't understand that. I haven't been able to get that to make sense. So let's look at that. So let's go into blend here. So I'm in blend. And here it says blends from dry to both shift channels. Yeah, I don't know why it gives this big volume. Maybe if yeah. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure what this is supposed to do. It seems to have a big volume increase, which I don't usually hear in these other sounds. So that's a little confusing, and I'm not sure I would use this. So this one crossfades from shift 1 to shift 2. Kind of cool. And then that one does the opposite. Or this one says crossfades from shift with dry control in there. So let's... So some of these user modes, I'm missing something. I'm not sure what they're supposed to do. So there's some cross shifting and cross, which so basically, yeah, no, I think I'm understanding. They basically turn the user pedal into a pseudo expression pedal, and that's kind of making sense now, I think. Although they all sound the same except those last two. So for the way I would like to use the user mode, I think I would just use it like the way I was doing it earlier. Here I'm going to set this to be just on shift 2 maybe. And this one's on shift 1. So it gives me 2 different sounds between my stereo, you know. And maybe it'd keep that dry sound. Okay, now let's look at the X mode, or X mod mode. And what this does is it adds some, modulation between the two. So this is going to go from 1 to 2. And then if we turn this up, it'll give the value that it's. And then here, if we go, let's see. This one you could add in whatever this is set to. So we could add that. So we're going to do a 50-cent modulation on top of the 4th. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have to be honest, I don't hear this that much. I found the modulation stuff I find to be confusing, and I'm not really seeming to hear that much with it. So I might be missing something on those, so sorry about that. Just trying to give you guys as much as a good overview as I can. But these couple things are a little bit confusing. Yeah, I mean, you could hear a little bit. It's kind of subtle. Okay. And then, of course, the latch mode, you've got momentary. So. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to add the foot switch in. All right, let's check out how this stuff works a little bit. So let's move this over here. Okay, so let's look at the expression pedal. Let's turn the. So here we're changing the expression mode now for the volume pedal. It's going to be on both. Glissando, let's turn it on for rise. And then for frequency, we'll have it be both. And let's turn the latch back to latch. So let's turn the volume off, maybe. Or we'll only have it do one of them. Let's see how that works. That one's cool. So it's only changing the amp on the right side. The volume. Okay, and now let's look at what the foot controller. So with the foot controller, I could switch through the different modes. Once I'm on preset, I could switch through the different presets and watch. Now I'm going to go up to number 11, or actually number 13, and when I click on, when I click on the one on the top left, it's going to use this jump function. Well, whoops, sorry. I forget how to do it now. Let's get out of here. So, now I remember. So, see, I could use these to switch through the presets, right? If I'm on preset, I could switch through them. Depending on which mode you're on, the foot switches will do set the parameters. If I'm on preset, it'll enable me to switch through the different presets. But I could also use my user foot switch to create a loop. So right here, or just to jump to wherever. So right here, I'm going from 13 to 14 to 15 to 16 to 17 to 18, and then starting over at 13. And each one of these just goes up an interval. So I've got major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, I think a major sixth, and then an octave. And I've got these all set. These presets are just to interval and the momentary. So that one's a second. Third. Fourth. Sixth. I think I skipped. That's six. And now it'll cycle back through. I could just go back here to go back to my other presets. So anyway, there's an overview. Things I don't understand and all. The main thing I like, well, let me give a review a little bit now. So, although I did find a couple things confusing if you watch the video, I think this particular pedal, compared with their more recent ones, like the Grand Canyon and the Reverb, the Oceans 12, even to some extent the 1440 looper, the way that they're implementing their, the presets and the different menu functionality, I really think this one's by far the superior to their other implementations. Some of them you need an additional switch to add to get to the presets. This one has 100 presets built in. It's, I like the expression pedal was really cool right when we added the different, it has 3 different expression effects you could do. Look for another, I'll probably do another video using the 8-step program with the expression so we could get some cool trippy stuff with that. I really like this auxiliary thing, or auxiliary, where you have different ways that second amp functions is very cool. Sometimes I've thought the one thing I don't like about that, which I've had a problem with their Grand Canyon as well, is this only has one input. I don't know why that is, but it's only got one input. So if you want to play through 2 amps and do stuff with other effects, you're kind of limited in the way that you could connect with it. The one thing I do kind of like about that, although I don't know how many people want to do this, but I have 3 amps, so I'll probably do another demo where I'm playing through 3 amps and you could get some cool stereo stuff, and then play through that other 1 amp doing, maybe setting that as like your dry sound and using another stereo pedal, or the, where you're using an A/B switch where you're splitting that signal. So I'll probably post another video on that. So, overall cool pedal. Let me know if you have any questions, and please feel free to subscribe and like and all that. And thank you.